today or this week, this is the last month, brain, of the Six Figure Systems round, which is like a crazy, crazy revelation. I can't believe it's been 5 months already. But I want to let you know if you want to book a one-on-one coaching call with me, I would absolutely love to have you. And I'm going to be opening up more times as the week goes on. Currently, I have a lot of time booked out on Thursday, and I'm going to open it up this week just in case you guys need it. Um, we have a lovely little doctor's appointment, so I'm not sure how long that's going to go. But other than that, I'm opening this Thursday and next Thursday up for you guys, so that way you guys can get a little bit of one-on-one time with me before we rally. And that is the first announcement I had. So please book your one-on-one calls. It is in the classroom stream. Feel free to, it should be like the first thing. And I typically just will have like the same re-signing call that I give to you guys. Harmony, great question. The final check-in is essentially if you go into, I will share my screen. If you go into, I think it's the delivery system for the renewal calls, I will show you exactly what we shall be doing. It is right here at the bottom. If you look at this, we're going to celebrate and be like, wait, what are 5 wins over the past 5 months? Like, and this is like the text if you need to give it to other people, but biggest accomplishments, what worked. And I want to know your future goals. So my biggest thing is that, like, yes, I would love for you guys to renew. However, if that's not in the works for you, I want to get an idea of what are your future goals and how can I support you within these next 4 sessions that we have, and make sure that you are feeling like so good about the next phases in your journey. The next piece is figuring out, like, what do you want to plan for? What are some things that you want to have on the docket that you want me to check in with, or things that you want to touch in on? So that again is under
So,
delivery systems and under renewal. Yeah.
so this is done, and I was wondering if you had something for the last session too, where maybe it would be an opportunity for the client to say, well, actually, maybe I want to continue. I was just curious about that. Or
Yeah,
what was your
that's what we'll be
strategy?
talking about here. I like for people to decide a month out. For me, I like to have and again, if you're like, hey, I didn't want to renew, and I'm like, oh wait, now I actually want to renew, I always leave that as an option. That's happened for me with many of my clients as well. But I like to kind of have a game plan. If this is the last 4 sessions I have with somebody, I'm like, I want to make sure I make it count and that they have
Yeah.
an amazing experience. They do the renewal, or they give me referrals and testimonials. And if they change their mind, they're always welcome to do so.
And the last session, you just do like a regular last session. There is not another
I
like.
Yeah, it's like I typically like celebrate now. Like I just had one last week with a client, and it was just kind of like, oh my God, I'm gonna miss you so much. Like it was like, this is amazing. I'm so proud of you. And it's like kind of a continuation celebration. And also just like I actually did regular coaching with her. She needed some coaching on
Yep.
like the last steps. Really, really good question though. So I don't have a template for that. It's more so just celebratory.
Yeah, yeah. I used that template already. Actually, I put it in a form before our
Awesome.
session, so she was able to work on that. And then,
Yeah. And I just know for me, I know that I'm a really terrible student. Teachers are typically like the worst students. What I found is like, so it's like if somebody gives me something to do outside of a session, the likelihood of me doing it,
I know she does everything. She even rewatches my webinars because
oh
she's in
my
the
God,
UK. This
I
is
love this human. I'm like, they are great. It's like, that just is not my skill set. So I usually am just like, okay, so this is awesome. And for those of your clients that are like me, we might need a little hand holding. It doesn't make us any less fun or awesome. It really is. It's just like I know myself. And I actually think I'm going to be enrolling in a a group that does a lot of hand holding through talking to, very similar to what we do. They call them accountability calls for like the first half of the program. Um, just because I love my capability. I know my strengths. And unless somebody's holding my hand, talking me through every single thing, then I know it probably won't get done. So that is my tidbit, just personal experience, but I'm really glad that she's filling out the forms. I'm like, good for her. I'm like, love that. Now, the other thing I wanted to just quickly mention, I want to make sure that you guys got one more guest speaker before we rallied. So I have, we're going to do a contract workshop. So if you are using my contract, it's probably awesome. And my friend Kristen, she's with Dotted Lines Contracts, and she's actually going to talk through how to kind of format a contract. I asked her to give us like a little freebie. So she's going to give us a, she's the takeaway from that session is going to be when you do a testimonial. I have never done this before, but it's a great thing to include like a piece of like name and likeness being used for perpetuity. So essentially what that means is that you are able to use someone's testimonial over and over and over again. And that's what's called their name and likeness. I've learned a lot about contracting through a different program I did, but one of the things that I would recommend is like if you're there, if you're available on the 21st, I think it's going to be awesome. And if you click here, you can ask her any questions that you want. I've sent her this. Oh, wait. This says 318. This says 321. Let me just take a sneak peek at both of those dates. Yep, she's going to go on the 21st at 11. So I'm just going to update that in the contract. It's 321 at 11 a.m. I think that was just my brain giving you a different date. It's 321 at 11 if you're available. Yes, yeah. So Alicia said, I always ask if I can use their testimonial on how they want to be credited, for sure. However, I have people whose testimonial they did for me back in 2021. And the one that I'm thinking of is Jess. She was a talking about like how she was able to be a mom and a business owner. And I have used her testimonial because she got really emotional. We did an Instagram live together, and I still think it's really valuable for people. So within that, not just the like name and testimonial, but just letting them know, hey, like I'm probably going to use this for a couple of years. Just a heads up. Just in case, and it's like just a disclaimer that you can say at the bottom of your testimonial form. I'm going to start including that once we have that meeting with her on mine as well. So just to clarify, it is 321. All right. That was a lot of like, just like general stuff. Who would like some coaching first today? Nadia, I see a smile. I know what that means.
Well, I'm always up for coaching, you know me.
I do. I was like, I know you. Give me a win to start, and
Oh God.
and then we'll get going. The
Um,
question we all want to know though is, did you do the webinar?
no, I didn't do the webinar.
No, but that's okay. We
No,
will
I
get
didn't.
there.
I finished creating it, like in the slides and that, and then it was getting close to it. I was like, what's the point of doing it this time? To do it another time, and then it just kind of went away. I was like, no one's gonna be there. This is pointless. So I know that's bad, and I
We're
know
gonna
it's just
work on
bad.
it. Give me a different win. Give me something else that happened.
To do with business. Well, I started doing something different with my reels, and I've started because for ages my reels, my views were always just my audience. You know how like it can be like new people or old people, and I've shifted something that I'm doing with it, which is helping it go to more new people rather than, and that's the first time in ages because I think something changed the algorithm obviously
I think
over the
they
last
did.
while. And I used to get pushed out way more than it's still not huge, but like for me and my audience, I got pushed out way more to new people.
Mhm.
And over the last ages, I've only been getting pushed to, or like a small view, but even within the small views, it's only been like my current audience. So So that was the one. I thought that was good.
I found one the other day that was like, I took screenshots of it, so I really hope I saved it.
Mhm.
It was like, I've been saving a lot of like random stuff. Like, it was like, I can't find it. Okay. So essentially I'll send you the screenshots. I always
Mhm.
like to include like ideas. Maybe it's this one. No. Okay. So within that, I took screenshots of it, and it was something like there is a new setting. Fun fact for all of you. Let me find it. And I think I'm just gonna send you guys this in the group because I was like, I need to update my settings as well. It was something like you need to change your settings to be visible to all. I literally like and I was like, I didn't even know that. Yeah, okay. For Instagram settings that are keeping you in the 200 view jail. And it was from Shy Strategies. So I'll just like, and this is a person that's really interesting. She didn't want her face to be included, like in anything that she did. So she said, go to the hamburger menu, the 3 on the right. I think you have to do this on your phone. Click down to settings and privacy, choose specific keywords and phrases. I'm just going to send this to all of you guys.
I
But
think you
it's,
sent it already.
did I send it?
Yeah, I did it. It was already checked for me. It was already.
Yeah,
Oh, good.
I think the
Okay.
things I find online when I follow what they say, it's already checked. I think.
Okay.
Or I think the first one, because I think I've seen that reel that you're talking about as well. I didn't have the option to go into keywords. I don't have that option come up on my
Are you a profession? It's like, what kind of account do you have?
I think it's professional. How do you
It
know?
might need to be a creator account.
You may need to update
Yeah.
your app too. I don't know.
Yeah, that also could be the case.
But how do you know what you've got at the moment?
How do you know what you've got in the moment?
Like
Oh, you
professional
click,
account.
okay. So you click on the hamburger and then you click account details. I started doing this. And then I can't know if you can see on my computer. It might be in settings and privacy. Oh, fun.
I can't find
Okay, it's like, but you can change it from professional, personal, and creator. I think in order for this to work, it has to be in creator mode. And this is just like a,
I can't no, I don't know. I can't find out. I'm sure from ages and ages ago that I was either professional or creator. But I can't figure out where to find out if I am. But I can Google it. I'll have a look.
well, take a look at it. I feel like that can be
Yeah.
helpful, and I'll add these pictures so that you can see it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you shifted something that you've done. It seems like it's getting more views. That's awesome. We are always
Yeah.
looking for that. What kind of, I'm sure that there were some thoughts about the webinar. Would you like coaching on them? This is totally consensual. So we do not need to coach you on it if you're feeling good. I just think it could be an area for growth if you're open to it.
Yeah, I mean we could. I'm kind of like, yeah, I mean if you want, I don't really know what I want coaching on if I'm honest. I'm just a kind of a bit of a yeah, I don't know. I
Because
don't
I'm
know what I need.
thinking that, like, let's think about what your goals are. What are your goals for your business for this month?
Well, I don't really have anything set on paper, but I would need to sign a client. One
Okay.
client would be good.
Okay, so if we want to sign a client, what is
Yeah.
your current plan to do that?
Well, it would be creating content every day, networking, either like online, like sort of chatting to people, and probably doing a webinar at the end of the month,
Okay.
near the end of the month.
Okay. Networking, webinar, and there was something else that you said. Content. Okay. So
Yeah.
when we're thinking about your goal, how many, like, if we could get like again, just an idea, okay?
Mhm.
The webinar that you had, the 3 mistakes you're making,
Yeah.
with this upcoming webinar, do you have time this week to just record it on your own? Like just by yourself? To no one.
Yeah, I could make that time. Yeah.
Okay. I would recommend that. And here's why. I just included like the bonus annual plan webinar in my January launch to anyone who signed up for a consult. And I was like, if after your consult, I'll send you the notes and I'll send you this webinar. 5 people booked. For this
Okay.
past week, I did I had like including bonuses is awesome for your people.
Mhm.
This past week, I did the webinar Love Your Offer. And with the Love Your Offer webinar, I said I would give people a copy of my offer Canva template. I'm like, if you book a consult, I'll get you a Canva template.
Okay.
I think we just need to get something like entice people to book consults with you.
Yeah. Okay.
I think, what do you think? But my thoughts are if somebody gets on a consult with you,
Yeah.
what's the likelihood of you closing them? Do you know your conversion rate?
I don't know, but I think I'm like I don't have figures, but I'm pretty good at it, I
We just
think
need to
anyway.
get
Like,
people booking consults, right?
yeah, for
Like, we just
sure.
need to
Yeah.
get somebody booking consults. Like, and so I did on Friday, I did something that like I think would be a good case study for all of you guys to look at. And we're going to do this with Nadia, but I think this could work for anybody. Is I did a Q&A, and instead of doing my like typical Q&A where I like was just like, oh, and here's how to join, and here's like what you get. I was like, what is keeping them from booking a consult? Like, if we could get really curious, what
Mhm.
are the things that are stopping them from booking a freaking consult with you? You know that you are a very good coach, right?
Mhm.
If we could get, and like, I was like, why should I hire a systems coach over another type of business coach? When is this not for you? Why include mindset coaching? What kind of support do I get outside? These are like kind of like granular ones, but it's like, do you guarantee results? Why do you only talk about this? How fast will I get results? Why should I do a consult now? Why did I start business coaching? And how will this get me faster than any other program? What if I don't want to do things what you teach them? I was like, I just got really curious and I was like, what is stopping them? Why would they not book a consult for me? Like,
Mhm.
and I got like, instead of like making it mean anything about me, I was like, okay, let's let's go. And I'm gonna like take this and I'm going to redo it for my group. And I'm also going to include this on my website. And I'm going to be
Mhm.
like, here, like, so it's like, I think it would be worth for everybody just doing this in any state. I think it would be really helpful. But it also, each of these, I was just coaching a client. She was like, every single one of these is like an amazing post. And what I did on the
Mhm.
last day of my launch is I did 10 reels. And you remember I did 10 reels and um 10 reels in one day. And
Mhm.
all of them were answering the like decent FAQ that I made. But I'm like, if I do 10 reels of this, that's going to be content that's going to serve my business forever. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I'm
Mhm.
going to take this link out and I'm going to make it so that everyone can edit this, and I'll include it at the top of our like notes for the week.
Okay.
But I think that like, so yeah. Oh man. I think that should fix it. Let's see. But I want you to think about like, there we go. What do you think is okay? So we know that you're going to network. How many people do you want to network with?
Well, I've been doing what I've been trying to do is do like 10 conversations a day, like new or nurture. And then I'm trying to spend at least 30 minutes or an hour in groups just talking, not actually like trying to like,
Yes.
you know, get into their DMs or anything like that, but just being visible in groups and helping in whatever way I can.
Yes, I love that. How many posts are you gonna do?
For the month, well, my plan is to do one every day, so however many days are left in the month. Monday to Friday, I don't do it the weekend, but
Awesome. Okay, so and what day do you want to do the webinar?
I've not got a calendar.
And I think the title of yours is for the other one that you did, I think that's like 3 mistakes you're making. It's like
Mhm.
bonus, get the 3 mistakes you're making. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's enticing to be like, oh, not only am I going to get a consult with her, but I'm going to get this as well.
Yeah, that's a fair one. Okay, so here's my thought, because I want to have enough time after this thing to try and close people. So I need to do like the webinar maybe on like the 21st, and then you've got a week after.
Mm. I love it.
So I did the 21st.
Okay. So and what do you want the topic to be?
I don't know, because like I feel like that one that I would do that and I'm going to do is just kind of a vague overarching thing, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I'm like, I think I need to do one that's more specific. Like,
Let's do one more
I'm gonna-
specific.
what, sorry?
Let's do it.
Yeah. And I don't know what to do. Like,
Let's go to your pillars. We got direction, planning. I think that like you could do like mine, you could literally take the same title. It's got second quarter accelerator. Like
what, sorry, say that again?
the second quarter accelerator. Everybody can take it. Feel free to go for it. But it's like, I think that that's compelling because we're entering the second quarter at the end of March, going into April, May, and June. It's like how to beat the mid-year bubble. Like that could be like another idea for a topic. How to like, it's like what's on their mind? They've gone through 3 months of the year and they're not getting where they need to go.
Yeah. And then I'm thinking like that again, for me, I'm thinking like, that's still kind of vague. Like, what am I going to teach in that? Like, if you were saying that,
Well, so
like,
mine actually is a big one. That's the one where I'm talking about my whole program. It's for my mastermind.
yeah,
So that
okay.
is intentionally big. I think that like for you, if you wanted to do something like that, it would be like more like first off, have you done one on marketing recently?
I don't think I've done one on like any specific thing. I can't remember what I've done them on, but like they're more, I can't remember what I've done.
That's okay. I was like, what is like what's the easiest thing for you to talk about?
Um, I don't know. I think I'm trying to I think I want to do one around niche, because I feel like loads of people,
What do you do like know your niche?
yeah, like I think people have a lot of confusion over that, and I think that's a big part that what holds people back, because they're spinning in the confusion about who they're talking to, and
Yeah.
that impacts everything else. So like they need
Wow.
to fix this bit first,
Uh-huh.
so that then their messaging is better, their content is better, their program is better. Like it impacts everything.
And notice that you don't have delivery as one of your pillars.
No.
So like master messaging with niching, master marketing with niching.
Yeah.
Do you see how that could be a little clearer, a little bit more like grained in? And then what do you teach on there? You teach why not having a niche is a detriment to your business
Yeah.
and how
And
having
why like they think vague's good because you can get more people, but that's really not good, in my
yeah,
opinion.
when you talk to one person, you talk to everyone, right?
Mhm.
So it's like, how does that feel? Like, I want you to be like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is
And I think,
exactly what they need to hear. And I'm going to bring it to them in a way they've never heard before.
yeah. And I think I'm gonna do like as well, and then give them like my best 3 sort of stipulations, if you know what I mean, to like really hone in on your niche. Like, because I was thinking, I was on a big drive the other day because I was down south from my daughter's competition. But then I was thinking, I'm trying to think, I need to get people on the phone. Then I was like thinking about, why don't I just offer like a free 30-minute? So what's your thoughts on this? Like just offering people like a free 30-minute call where I will help them nail their niche. Like, and then if they want to talk about working with me after, I would do it, but I wouldn't try and you know what I mean? I don't like the calls that are bait and switch. Like, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't like sell them that and then try and sell them on my program. But
I think you have a thought about, and I think that you can go with it. I think that sometimes we can go with path of least resistance. And I think that because you mentioned like the monthly accelerator, the like this 1 hour call, what do you think
what
they would?
monthly accelerator? Sorry.
Remember how you were like, okay, I'm going to do this like 1 or 6 week thing versus
Every
like,
time I go on a long drive, this is what I come up with.
I know your brain is always like, this is the answer.
I'm like, yes, I'm going to do this. I'm literally driving along and I'm like, I've got it.
I've got it. We've got the missing piece. And it's like, I think that we could also, you could give it a try. I think that business is all about trial and evaluating. If
Yeah.
sometimes we need to scratch the itch and be like, okay, this is something I want to try. You know, as the CEO, you can do whatever you want in your business. It does not have to be prescribed. It just, we notice, a trend. Maybe this might not help. Like, it's like, maybe my brain is thinking something, like I'm missing something because of.
Yeah, but I think it's because it's been a long period without getting consults or like signing clients. Then I'm always like, I need to do something different. And I'm like, I want to do this.
Okay. So that is an option. Like, you can always do that. Just like thinking about like, I think whenever we think about something new, our brains think about like the reward, right? So I was talking with a friend of mine. She has switched her membership for like these parents from a 3-month to a 12-month membership. And she's like, I'll give them more time to pay. It's going to be a lower price point. And this is the reason why I like these kind of masterminds. It's like, this is what I was like, this just saved me like a year, because I was like, oh, maybe if I extend the timeline, if I extend mine to almost be like almost a membership, maybe that it's been a thought that I've had. And she was like, nobody showed up to the call. It was the shortest call I've ever had. It's like, what we do is we see the opportunity for a reward and we don't always see the risk. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that like, if you can be like, okay, so the reward could be, I could get some calls in the books. Do you see any risks that it could present?
Well, the risk is obviously people come and then I help them in a great way and then they just go off. So they feel like they've got the help.
Okay. And maybe you ask them for a testimonial afterwards and reward. Okay. So it's reasons why. And just like as the CEO, it's like, okay, so we know it's like they could get help and go, maybe collect a testimonial. It's like I could get people in the door.
Yeah.
What would be the why not? And this is something that my friend Charlotte, I think I mentioned her last week. She talked to me. I used to do these challenges and I'd be like, okay, we're going to do the 5K and like what I would do now would be like the 5K and 25 days challenge. It's like, so like, let's see if you can make your money for free. And I noticed that people were doing the challenge and they weren't getting great results. And she was like, yeah, because they haven't paid you. They have nothing invested in you. They're just kind of giving it a shot. And what's going to happen is if they start to associate you with, oh, I didn't make my 25K in 25 days to Megan doesn't get results, that could be. And I was like, didn't realize that. Just lack of experience. So for me, it's like, if like, let's say they niche, right? You get them a niche, they do, but they're missing the marketing. They're missing understanding how to plan for their time. They might be missing their sales. Like, and I also think that like all of us in at least this call and many of us have been a part of a sales program with Stacey. So I think we think other people know how to sell. I have learned recently that is not true. Like people, I've gotten on some sales calls that I was like, whoa, people do not know how to sell. So like you could give them the best niche in the world, and without the other foundational skills, You could be like, niching is the solution. They niche, they don't get the results immediately. It takes more time. They have to finesse their marketing. There are other things they have.
Yeah.
And so then they're like, well, niching wasn't the solution. Nadia said
Yeah,
it was the
no,
solution.
I don't think it is the solution. I think it's a key fundamental that needs to be there, and then all the other stuff.
But you know how people are, especially at the beginning of their business, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're looking for the next thing. They're like, this is what I'm missing. This is what I'm missing. We can even get into this at like further stages in our business too. It's like, oh my gosh, this is the thing. And what
Yeah.
happens is when we think like this is the thing,
Mm-hmm.
they're just, even if you clearly state, this is not, I'm not saying this is the only thing. I'm not saying that you only do this. They're in such a heightened emotional state
Mm-hmm.
that it's just an idea. I was like, just something I want to offer you.
Yeah, no, that's fair. No, I get that. But then isn't that the same thing with saying it like, if I'm teaching on a webinar, being like, I'm a teacher niche and this is what's going to help, blah, 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 blah. That's not the only thing that's going to help them get the result they want in their business, but it's like a piece of the puzzle.
Yes. Right. And so, okay, so it sounds like you were sold on it. Do you want to think?
What do you mean, the calls or the
Yeah, let's like give it a try. Let's do these 30-minute calls. Let's see like if this is something to get more people in the door. And let's add this to your plan. If we want to sign a client, we're going to add these 30-minute niching calls. When are
okay,
you going to start marketing that?
tomorrow?
Okay.
Do you think
So
it's
we're
a good
gonna,
idea to do that, or do you think I'm gonna like?
I
it's
don't
not a
think,
good
I think
idea?
that business is trial and
Alicia's like, no.
you know what I mean? It's like I guess I'm seeing
Maybe I see how to solve the problem.
I was like maybe a series like yeah, so it could be a series and like you're like you're missing your direction because you don't have a niche. Let's talk about
Yeah.
that. So it's like and then maybe you do like a quick call like but I would just think about like when are you marketing the niching calls and when are you marketing working with you? That would be the only thing I would want to offer.
Yeah. Well, the niche goal was just a random idea I had in my long drive. I thought this would be the answer to everything.
Of course.
Um,
What would the
and-
answer be? What would the answer if like people will then book a call if it's free?
Well, my thought was, right, if I get people on the call and I help them, like, clarify something in a way they've never been, they've never had it before, then they'll be like, she's good.
It's like she
How
gets
else can I
right.
get, like, how else can I work with her?
I think that like so that could be true. And
Nope.
I think that again, there's like it's like I was like Alicia, I was like it's one of the things that it could be true. Have you ever shown up for something for free? And like I pay for shit and I sometimes don't do the shit. You know?
For sure. Mhm.
So it's like I want you to think about like who is your yeah, it's like I'm not good. So it's
I
like
didn't say that, did I?
within it, it's like I just think that like it's like they don't think that I am good enough to get results without seeing something free. Might be the I so you think about like, oh, it's like, why don't they think what I'm doing right now is good enough that they would want to work with me?
Yeah, there is a thought in there somehow that like when I get someone face to face, then they're like, they see how good I am versus
And again, we could open your
Essential.
business up for that. I want you to feel free to be a CEO that like you're leading yourself. Like, right? It's like I want you to be like, okay, I sometimes it's like from a really good place. I think that like the thing that I've learned over time is that sometimes that like the moment I get like a good idea, and I think it could be a really great idea. A lot of times it's like just like I always I've done a lot of those things. I'm like, maybe this is why I did this. Is this how I see like the future of my business? I think that you can be like this is a one-time thing. I just want to give it a try. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. However, I do think that like just thinking about like the experience that I've had, I used to do free coaching calls in my Facebook group. And I was like, you know what? I'm
Mhm.
going, and I'm actually bringing them back. So I'm like, again, but here's the reasoning I'm bringing it back. I'm showing it live. I'm going to have people get coached live, and I want people to see me coach, and I don't expect any of them to buy. I've done it. I did it for a whole year. I did live coaching in my Facebook group and nobody bought. And it's nothing about my ability to get them results. It's just that people who come for free things don't always come for paid things. So my intention is that every person I coach live is probably not going to buy, even if I make them $100,000.
So
But
why are
I
you doing it
still,
then?
for exposure, for people to see my style, and I'm going to use it for marketing in Reels. So that was my mindset behind bringing back a free thing. It's not because those people are going to convert. I'm going to use it to convert more of my paid people. Because like I think the way I coach is very different than the way I teach. And I'm like, I
Mhm.
think maybe it's like it'd be cool for them to see me in action. It's
Yeah,
like
no,
I
I
think
get
it'd be
that.
cool so it's like, but I'm doing it in a very public way. It's like, again, if you want to do that, be like, it's like you'll provide a testimonial afterward. Whether they do or not is great, but like I was like, I know that
Yeah.
like the free people are probably not the doers. They're probably not the super active people. So I know that their ability to do something afterward and do a testimonial, take their business and like actually do something for me, even if I've helped them, I found is not always as likely. But I still
Yeah,
am.
you very rarely get people to do that. Mhm.
But so then it becomes like a live testimonial. It's like, this is what I do. I'm really good at what I do. I want other people to see it. I wonder if I just brought on another person to my social media, and I wonder if Instagram's kicking me out. Anyways, within that, so it's like, I think you can totally do it. We want to include that in your other plan, not just be like, okay, I'm going to do these 30-minute niching calls and it's going to be it. And I would also
Okay.
include some sort of motivator and be
Mhm.
like, drive some urgency and scarcity around them and be like,
Mhm.
okay, it's like, I've got 10 niching calls. Who wants them? Sign up here.
Yeah.
Don't make it like unlimited niching calls.
Yeah, no, I know. No. Well, my thought was just to get people on the phone. It's like
Okay.
when you do like give people a free taster, like a piece of cake, and then you're like,
And coming
no.
to the Q&A, why do you think they are not? Why are they not getting on the phone? Other than the fact that they just like need to see you in person. Why are they not getting on the phone? Can you give me like and I want everybody to do this. Like, what are 5 reasons that people aren't booking consults? What do they
Okay,
need to?
one is my age-old story that there's no one there.
Okay.
Like, that there's no one actually watching.
I was like,
or,
but like, let's just assume they're watching, right?
okay.
Let's just like under the assumption, it's like, why haven't they booked a call with you? What do they need to hear to actually book a call with you? Other than that, you do a 30-minute niching call. Let's give it a try. See what happens. Yeah.
I don't know. Why haven't they booked
What
a
are they
call?
scared of?
What, and then for coming on the call or
Yeah,
in
why haven't they booked
general?
a consult?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's like I think that like our brain's good. I don't know. So that's why I want to give you an example. It's like I think that they are going to other business coaches. There's a bunch of other business coaches that are out there. I'm like, I'm unique because I'm a business systems coach. I think you're unique because you're one-on-one. It's
mhm.
like if you are at the beginning of your business, you need one-on-one support. You need someone to hold your hand. So it's like, first question, why should I work with you instead of doing a group program?
Why- I know.
I know you do know. I'm just gonna give you some hints, right?
I know, help me. Yeah, I know.
How do you know if it's not for you, right? It's like this program is not for you if you have made more than $100,000.
Yeah,
You can
for
say that.
sure.
Like it's like not for you if you made 6 figures. It's like, how do I know this program is not for me? That's, and then like that's the answer, right?
Yeah.
Like, why should I do a consult now? How fast will I get results? Why will this get me going faster than any other program?
Because
see-
it's one-on-one tailored. Like, am I meant to be answering these? Or I don't understand.
Yeah, like it's like these are the questions that I think that they're asking themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And this is
need to
like the
answer it
next
ahead of
level of like you answering this. And like what Alicia was saying is that the mini transformations.
Yeah.
This is what you can say in your marketing. And I think that like it's like, is this the best use of my resources? Am I going to get results?
Yeah.
How do you make sure I get results? You know? It's
Mhm.
like those are questions like I want everybody, it's like, how can I ensure I get results? If we were to get like really curious, and I want you to come up with like 2 on like, but it's like, why aren't people, it's like, why should they do a consult now? Have you had that level of compelling conviction in your marketing? It's like you're gonna miss out on the entire month of March if you don't book a consult now.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I need to do more selling on it.
Okay, so let's just like think about like 2 questions. Like, what do you think? It's like, what if this doesn't like? It's like I've given you 6.
6, but okay, can I just, you're giving me 6 questions that I need to go and answer. Is that what you're saying right now?
Yes, in your marketing, in your webinar,
Okay.
and in your stories every day. Like, I
Okay.
want to see this
Okay.
peppered in, probably with the hot results.
Okay.
Because I think that like, because I think your brain is like, they haven't booked a consult because they haven't gotten in the door. And that is one of hundreds of reasons why they haven't booked a consult.
What do you mean gotten in the door? What do you mean by
So
that?
your brain solved for the solution. Your brain is seeing one solution for one problem. And I'm trying to
Okay.
open your brain up a little bit. And I want everybody to think about this. When you are like, okay, the solution to people not booking consults is one thing. Okay, so we've got one solution. It's like, why haven't they booked a consult? They need to get in the door. But as a
I don't know what
CEO,
you mean by that sentence, though. I don't understand. They need to
okay,
get in
so
what
this
do
is what
mean?
you said. You said that they need, so it's like when your brain is solving for a problem in your business,
Mm-hmm.
you said they are not, why haven't they booked a consult is the problem, right?
Yes.
This was your solution. They need to get in the door. And now I'm going to take action. 30-minute niching calls.
Yeah.
I'm saying that that is one solution. Maybe that's it. It could be one solution. And there are also a bunch of other reasons why they haven't gotten in the door. So every time that your brain is like, they haven't booked a consult, and here's the one solution why, let's get
Mhm.
creative and be like, okay, it's like that. It's one option. Maybe they need to hear that they need to work with me instead of doing a group program. Maybe they
Mhm.
need to hear why it's not for me. Maybe they need, and also what are the thoughts? It's like, what would they have? What would be their thoughts and feelings to compel them to take action to buy from me when they get in the door? It's like it's just like thinking about your business at like instead of I as a CEO, I want you to like every time that you have a problem, I want you to be like branch out. It's like I could solve this in a bunch of different ways, and I want to like still pepper in these statements in the marketing that I'm doing, and I still
Mhm.
want to pepper this in. And I want you to think about like what is the thought they would have. It's like you mentioned it's like they see that I get result. It's like so the thought that we want to give them is like I get results
Yeah.
when I work with Nadia.
Yeah.
So I want you to also say this in your marketing. right? It's like, I don't want you to just be like, okay, I'm just talking about niching. I want you to be like, my clients get results. It's like, if you are ready to stop throwing spaghetti at the wall, it's like, we should totally work together. Your coaching business is really important. And every single one of my clients, I go to bat for them. We get results in here.
Mhm.
Do you see how it's like I'm including the solution with a thought shift? And that's what Alicia was saying. She was like, can you give me the mini transformation? The mini transformation is a thought shift. So can you give
Okay.
them the mini transformation of their thoughts in your marketing and do the niching call?
Okay, so when you say mini transformation in their, like in my marketing, is that to change how they think about me or just to change how they think about their business?
Well, I would say about you, it's a little bit of both, right?
Okay.
It's like, so it's like, that's a really good question. Naughty was saying that, like, also, is it, am I really quiet for you guys, by the way? Okay, Naughty, you sounded really quiet for me but I don't know if that's me. Okay, so when you're saying in my marketing, am I going to transform? Am I trying to transform their thoughts about their own business?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I trying to transform their thoughts about me being the best fit to serve their business? And I think it's a little bit
Yeah.
of both. We want to
Okay.
show them the possibility in your business by giving them something to aspire to, where they're like, oh, I can see that my business could do this. Those aspirational things are from the cold leads. So it's like cold leads need to see that it's possible for their business to look like yours and aspire to be like you. Warm leads need to see that you are the secret sauce to make their business work better. And then that's inspirational. It's like, oh, she's inspired me to take action. Then the hot leads need to be like, she is my person. I'm jumping into action from here.
Yeah, okay.
It's like aspire, inspiration, action. Just a cool way. I was like, I've never thought about it like that, but does that kind of like make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that like, okay, I think that you're like, okay, not only do we want them to take action, but what are their thoughts and feelings they need to take action to? So it's like, if they work with you, if they get in the door, this thought, I get results when I work with Nadia. How does that feel?
To them or to me? To
For
them?
them. Yeah, we're thinking about them.
They're like, if they believe that they're going to get results, then they feel like compelled to work
Okay.
with me, or they're drawn to work. You know, they're like
Attracted.
attracted, or like they've got more certainty around like this is the right thing to do. This is what they need to do.
Okay. These are the words I want you to say in your marketing. This is the right thing to do. This is the thing for me. It's like, I know you've been looking for the right thing to do. I'm telling you that the Coaching Accelerate is the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing for me. My clients get results. Do you see how I'm taking the words that you're like, they're thinking, and we want to verbalize it. It's called like, I heard it called the other day, a connector. So we just need to connect the transformation that you know they'll get and the transformation that they're experiencing with your marketing, and we just bring them together. Okay.
Yeah.
Same thing. If we're thinking about why should I work with you instead of doing a group coaching program, what would their thought be?
Well, my thought to give them.
Or yeah,
would
your
be
first, yeah, do that first.
My thought to give them would be that it's because it's one-on-one and it's individualized support. Like it's best. Like I genuinely like believe that one-on-one support is the
Why?
most
Give them a
impactful.
reason.
Because they won't, like, if they work with you one-on-one, we're going to have a plan and they're not going to fall off track. I think sometimes in group coaching programs, you can just be like on the bus, but not actually doing anything. Whereas when you're working with me, I'm going to help you make sure that you're consistently doing the things, taking action and creating the results.
Action, you. Okay. Do you see how it's like, I think you assume they know this. I think, of
Yeah.
course, because you've worked with coaches, you're like, of course they know this. They don't know this.
Yeah.
We're just gonna assume
I
they
think
don't.
it's because I think this is what stresses me a little bit. Because they're coaches, I'm like, they know everything that I know. So then
Yep.
it's like sometimes like I'm just, why am I saying stuff that they already know?
What answer that for yourself?
Because even though they know it, maybe they know it on one level.
They
it's
know
not
it for
enough
their
for
own
everybody
results
else.
for coaching, right?
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
it's like, have you ever heard of like, it's like coaching works except for when it comes to weight loss, and it works except for money. It's like, I think we
Yeah.
all have these thoughts that like coaching works, except like my business just isn't working. And it's like
Yeah, like
it's
it's
hard.
funny.
It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, Instagram is out of service right now. Thank you, Harmony. Appreciate it. But it's like, I want you to think about like, okay, so with that, it's like the thing that you're missing is it's like if you were to say, it's like instead of being on the bus, you get the consistent action you need to create results. You get an individualized plan and you won't fall off track. What would their
Yeah.
thought be? What are they thinking then?
That's what I need. I think they'll think that is exactly what I need.
How they feel?
And they feel that's what I need. I don't know, what's the feeling? Just like energized to do it. Like I think they're more like, what's the word I'm thinking of?
I think excited. It's like, oh my gosh, that's what I need. It's like, thank God, I'm
Yeah.
thrilled. And like, I want it to be like, I urgently need this. It's like, you know what I mean? Like that feeling. I think that that is like this, and I want you to create this, not just when you are doing a webinar, but I want you to do this all the time. Like, I want you to be like, I am in, I think that's like the thought about like being in demand is like, I'm telling these thoughts all the time. It's like I see what like they have. Now, if like they get in the door with you to help you, let's try these 30-minute niching calls. It can't hurt, right? It's like I don't think like I think we've determined that like, okay, yeah, this might not be great, but there are other people in the world. Let's say if none of them book with you afterwards, like that's fine. What are the thoughts they need to just book this call? What do they need to hear to do the niching call?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, they might not even book that. but
Exactly. So it's like
yeah.
if there's a thought that it's like, what can we tell people to get them in the door for the niching call? Maybe that's the lesson here in this learning. It's like we figure out how to get them in the door for a niching call. If I can figure out how to get them in the door for a niching call, I can get them in the door for a consult.
Yeah. Well,
So
I think the difference in my mind is that with the niching call, I'm actually going to solve their problem, like solve a problem that they are struggling with. Whereas the consult is about selling them into the program.
oh my God, I'm so glad you brought this today.
But it is. It's about like it's a sales call, isn't it? Like it's not actually I'm not going to solve any of their actual problems on the consult call. I'm just going
Are
to help
you?
them.
Are you not?
Well, no, because the point of the consult call is not to coach them on their problems. It's to help
See,
them see what their problems are and then show them that I have the solution to those problems.
do you not think that like it's like just have you ever had somebody tell you something and you're like, okay, this is huge, right? When like they tell you something and they're like, have you it's like, oh, you didn't, I'm trying to think of an example, but it's like something that somebody just pointed out to you and they're like, oh, that's the reason why you haven't done this. Because you haven't done this. I'm trying to think of an example. I'm like,
Okay,
skiing.
yeah.
Okay, skiing. I was trying to ski with my family and I was exhausted. I was burning out all this energy. I was doing like hockey stops, like if anyone's familiar with that, like exerting a fuck ton of energy on the ski slopes. And I was trying really hard. I'm like, this isn't working. I was like, what the heck? And so my brother was like, you just need to take wider turns.
Mhm.
He gave me one thought. He did not fix my problem. He did not take my hands. He did not guide me down the slopes, but he just telling me it's like, oh, like your problem, the reason why it feels like exhausting for you to run your business is because you haven't niched. So you're talking to everybody, you're not talking to one specific person. And they're going to be like, what?
Yeah.
You're not solving their problem, but you're giving them, like, it's like, that's the issue.
Yeah, you're giving them
You
the
telling them
awareness
the
of
problem
like what's
is,
wrong.
what if that's more helpful than solving them? And obviously, just devil's advocate, this is equally helpful. But what if that could be even more helpful for them to see that this is a problem? To be like, oh my God, I have a problem. I didn't realize that I wasn't niching. I didn't realize that my confidence in my direction was a 2. It's like I keep doing shit, but I didn't realize that if I were to rank my confidence in my direction on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at like a 2. That's a problem.
Yeah, that is a huge problem. And actually, anyone that comes on a consult, like I can see how much it's helped them, even if they've not. But it's like, so then this is really interesting and helpful. But I'm not like selling the consult. You know what I mean?
Why? Because you don't think it's valuable.
Well, I do, but I think in my head I was like, but it's not actually solving a specific problem. It's just,
What if it's solving a bigger overarching problem that's going to hold them back for the next 6 months of their business if they don't hop on a consult with you and get an overarching view of their whole business and understand that they don't know how to plan, that they really don't know how to market? How many times do we, as CEOs, even though we know the power of reflection and evaluation, do we actually take it upon ourselves to reflect and evaluate? And that is the
Yeah.
biggest thing that I see people like. I worked with a guy that made a $20 million business in his second year. He was getting investors from like Shark Tank and shit. And every
Mhm.
single time that we met, he was evaluating every single day, hiring, firing, taking on different things. Like every day he was evaluating, and that's why he grew. What if the consult is like the most powerful thing that's
Yeah.
actually going to solve the, like, what if they're like, oh my God, I didn't realize I was a 3 with marketing. It's like,
So
why
how
have
can
I
I
not
sell
figured
it then? Like, how can I sell a consult as something of value to them? Like, because right now I'm thinking like, no, there's no real reason. The only reason they're going to sign up is if they're already sold and they want to work with me, if that makes sense.
Hold
I
on.
don't-
I was like, wait, we need to slow down. There's no real reason for them to sign up for a consult unless they're already sold to work with
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, like they're already like, so they will already in their head decide they want to work with me.
Are you seeing something here? Do we know why you haven't maybe received some consults?
Yeah. But is
This
that not true though? Like,
I know, but your brain has been subconsciously self-sabotaging you this whole and telling you that like that they don't have a reason to sign for a consult
yeah.
unless they're already sold to work with you.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of
Now, in
thinking.
the meantime, let's go to work. Like seeing, like selling them ahead of time. Love that. But how could we give them a reason to sign up for the consult?
Yeah.
How, like, it's like this thought, there's no real reason, is never going to serve you in your business.
No, I feel I
It's like, this is just like
can
not
see that.
helpful.
I can see that that is not helpful.
There's no reason for them to sign up. It's like, what's a more empowering thought?
More empowering. Like I need to give them a reason.
I am going, not, I need to, I am going to give them a reason. And what would that be?
That this call will help them just evaluate why they're not where they want to be like get a clear picture of why they're not where they want to be, and have a clear plan of what it is they need to focus on in order to create the result.
And I'm like, take a look at that. Is that actually solving a problem they're struggling with?
Yeah, because a lot of the time they're just flapping about. They don't know what they should be doing.
Literally, they don't know. They're just like
Yeah.
posting like they're
Yeah.
like, oh, I saw
Which is
Alex
actually the
Hermosa
best
use this trending
thing for
audio and
them.
oh, it's like, so if I want you to think about like, okay, me doing a consult with somebody is going to change their fucking business.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Yeah, and now that we're talking about it, I'm like, it 100% will. But I've not been actually selling them.
On doing a consult. So
Mhm.
why would they do a consult, Nadia? They don't know.
Well, yeah, in my head, I'm like,
They
well,
haven't been aware of
why?
that.
Yeah,
So
okay,
no, great
yeah.
salute. It is only the first week in March. We got so much time left in the year. I genuinely think that if you can shift your thoughts about consults, and this goes for
Yeah.
every single person on this call, if you can
Mhm.
shift your thoughts about a consult being one of the best things that somebody could do for their life because of the level of evaluation that you will do with them and the way that we structure our consults, it's like they not only are they like, where are they now? Where do they want to go? Like just them verbalizing,
Yeah,
here's where I want to go. Here's the actual results that I want to create in my life.
yeah,
That is a transfer fucking mation. And so
yeah.
if you think about like how that feels, like how do you feel now, like selling them to a consult?
Yeah, like I need to get as excited about the console for them as I would be of like the result of the program. You know what I mean? It's like I don't think I've been
Yes,
actually actively selling a console. I'm like I've not even been seeing the value of it. I've just been seeing it as the gate to whatever.
exactly.
For
And you're like thinking,
me,
oh, it's just selling them
more.
into a program. And
Yeah,
also that I think you've got maybe some thoughts about the program because like you are excited about the results of the program. You're just like, oh, telling them the results of a program. I'm like, why would that be like not a great thing? Your brain just had a thought about it.
yeah. Because as I was saying to Alicia last week, but like the program is the thing that they actually want. Like that's actually
It's
the
so it's
best
like, but like,
thing
okay,
for them.
if you got somebody on a consult, right? And like, let's say they maybe weren't a great fit for you. Like for me, if I get a brick and mortar person
Mhm.
that is trying to sell a product and they
Mhm.
get on a consult with me and they are actually a good fit, I still feel like that's transformational. And I still feel like I can explain the results of the program. And I'm like, if you work with me for 6 months, here are the things I can support you with. I don't know how to run a Shopify store, but I think that those would be the pieces that you would maybe want to include.
Mhm.
They're like, oh, okay, still valuable. And then, like what we were talking about before, brand ambassadors. It's like they become amazing brand ambassadors for Nadia.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just need to get better at selling actually why anyone would want to get on a console, which
And
seems
this
so
work
obvious
is
right
going to
now.
serve your people so well. Like, of course, you teach selling and you had to hear this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's like and this is going to be the piece. If you can learn how to love selling as much as you love marketing and as much as you love delivering to your clients, then
Mhm.
it's going to be so exciting. You'll be like, I just can't wait to meet you. We're going to have the best hour. It's going to be incredible. We're going to get a full layout of your business. We're going to tell you exactly where you need to go. And it's going to be like nothing. It's like, I want you to leave that call feeling X, Y, Z, certain, compelled, clear. It's like, I want you to experience that
Yeah.
level of clarity because I know you haven't had it.
Yeah. Okay.
How are you feeling now? I know I went
Yeah.
ham on you. I was like, but I
Yeah. No,
do
that's
think that this
good.
is like very helpful for everyone to hear like these thoughts. I genuinely think that like if we aren't getting consults, why? Let's like answer this
Yeah.
question, figure out what are the thoughts and feelings they need to have. If we come up with a solution, why? Why is this my solution? And how can we get to this level?
Yeah.
I think
Because I think, yeah, I think I've been confused about being like, should I be like, say for example, you have a question on your webinars, right? Are you're selling, but you're not selling the console because like you heard, I don't know who one of the people that we probably all follow says, sell the console, not the. Stacey will probably say, sell the console, not the program. You know, if that's what you're doing. But like on your webinar, I'm sure you sell your program though. You don't sell a call. Sorry, I was confused there.
I do.
Aaron.
Okay, good question. So it's like, it was like, yeah, it was like, nowhere. It's like Armony said in the chat. So everyone, I was like, it was just like, the 20 people are amazing, Armony. And within your consult, like I tell them, I'm like, the consult is the first step.
Yeah, but do
I'm
you
like-
sell the consult on your webinar, or do you sell your program and then say get on a consult to talk about it?
Most of the time, consult. I want you to hear me say that with a caveat. It's like I sell the program with the consult being the way. I am
Yeah.
experimenting with people just signing up straight from the webinar. So you will see me shifting my, if you come to the like webinar I'm
Mhm.
going to be doing, I'm going to be saying, just sign up. If you need any extra support, book a consult. So that is shifting for me, but I did sell, I've always, in this past webinar, I sold to the consult.
But do you see the difference? What I mean, like you're still in your webinar, you're selling six-figure systems, like you're selling that and saying the way to find out about that is to book a consult. If you're interested, book a consult versus selling the consult call, as in like at
I
the
see what you're saying,
end.
yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see the difference?
I would do a whole, like, so it's like, for instance, let's say I do like 10 slides about like of selling.
Uh-huh.
I would say probably like 70% of the slides, I'm talking about the program, maybe like 30 about the, or 3 of them being about the consult.
Okay.
How does that feel? Like, so it's like still mentioning the consult, but being just as excited about the consult as the program.
Yeah.
And lucky you, guess what? You get a chance to practice.
On a webinar?
The one that
No?
you're recording as your bonus.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It's
for
like
myself.
it wasn't meant to be. You weren't meant to do that webinar until today.
Yeah.
I think that
okay.
like now, and then it gives you a safe space to practice, a safe situation where you can just like, if you want to re-record it, you can. And I
Yeah.
want you to do this webinar all out. I want you
Mhm.
to sell the crap out of the coaching accelerator and also sell the crap out of your consult.
The consult, yeah.
And I want you to do it in an environment where there's no pressure. I want you to feel like that you can really get good at selling. And
Mhm.
then for this next webinar, it's going to be insanely compelling.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like that. Okay, that's a good practice.
Okay, so that's my, it's like re-record said webinar. I want you to think about like webinar this week. It's like old
Yeah.
webinar. I want you to think about like what, if the result is to sign a client,
Mhm.
I want you to think about like what do you want to be thinking? It's like that about this plan.
What do I think about this plan? I want to be thinking that this is my best guess. This is what I'm gonna do. Well, that was my best guess. But am I thinking about the goal, or am I thinking about what I'm gonna do?
I want you to think about what you're going to do is going to create your goal.
Yeah.
It's a good question. It's like what I do works. I'm going to figure out a way to make this work. And it can be from like this place of like, this is my best guess, but I'm going to make this work.
Yeah. Yeah, this is gonna work.
This is going to work. And if it doesn't work on this try, I'm going to make it work.
Yeah.
What emotion comes up for you there?
What I think actually is I'm gonna go all in on this plan.
And get data,
Yeah.
plan, and then get data to better guide the future of my business.
Yeah.
But this month, I want you to imagine everybody that this month is going to change the way that you see yourself in your business forever.
Yeah.
Like it is going to be a game changer. And how does that feel? Like I'm going to make March count.
Yeah.
How does that
No,
feel?
feels good. No, I feel excited. I feel like determined.
I was thinking determined or driven.
Yeah.
Like I love that. Okay. I know that Alicia, it looks like you were just like ready to say things. I was like, do you have I was like, I don't know if you actually are ready to say things, but I wanted to see if you
Cameras on. I was
I was
like,
gonna say, you better ask Nadia if she's ready to hear them.
are you ready? I was like,
No, I mean, you gave such great coaching, Megan, for sure. One of the things that I'm taking the coaching tools course with Brooke at the Life Coach School, and she's been talking about goals and she's been talking about action. And one of the things that really, really struck me was her definition of massive action isn't just doing a lot of things. It has to be results driven. So you do something with an intended result. You don't just post to post. You don't just make reels to make reels, right? I'm only saying this because it was impactful for me to hear that, because sometimes I just do the things without without intention. My intention is just to be a good girl, to check the list, to, so I can say I'm doing all the things, but I'm not doing all the things with with an intention of a result in mind. So like for Megan to offer that free coaching in her Facebook group sounds absolutely ludicrous. Why would you ever do that? But her, her intention is not conversion to sales. Her intention is to get material. And that's, and so perfect. So the task isn't, I'm going to offer free coaching in my Facebook group on Tuesdays. That's not the task. The task is actually the result. I'm going to obtain 3 sets of coaching examples to put in reels. Like that's actually what your to-do task should be.
and then those 3 things, those 3 reels are the exact thing that my future client needs to see and hear from me today.
Yeah. So it was just an interesting way to reframe what what I'm doing. And so I just share that because I sort of get from you, it's like, yeah, I'm putting out the reels and I, it's like, okay, so what is, but what is the intention behind each one? And is it to offer that mini conversion? Is it to change a thought? Is it, so I'm going to teach my client how to change their thought using a reel today. I'm going to teach my client how to set up an email account using a reel today. I'm going to teach, not just I'm going to film and post a reel, right?
And
yeah,
I think
no, I totally agree. I'm with you on that because, yeah, it's not just posted to say you've posted 5 times. Each post has got to have a goal, right? Is it to get them to sign up for this? Is it to get them to think differently? Is it to get them to see, me as valuable to them, like for what way or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, but even how you frame it, even how you just said it to get them to do is different than I'm going to show my client why signing up for a consultation is the best thing they can do today. And that's
Okay.
different. That has a different intentionality because that's the result that you are going for. And
Okay.
that's really all you can control. You can't make a goal for the client. I'm going to get them to sign up for a consult. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
you
It's
can sometimes though.
like semantics, but I think it does matter from the production end, not, like the outcome may be the same. What, Max?
I was just gonna say, like, what if though? I think that like where you're coming from is like I want to get a result from them, and that you want to be in service, which is a really, really great thing. Like you want to be serving them, like how can I shift them today? But I also think like maybe not the result for you, but like thinking about this bigger result overall. Like I want you to imagine that the difference of like every single post, every story that I share, every single thing that I do is going to be the thing that my future client needs to hear from me today. And somebody's going to see this and they're going to move closer to be working with me.
Yeah.
They might see this and work with me because of this. Like, think about like the way that you would say things. I'm thinking about this too. I'm like, if I were to think about like today, the post that's going out today is going to like be a real like such a good post that there's the overarching goal, there's the overarching like there's the result that they would be getting, that there's the goal like overall, that there's like a clear call to action. But then also with my intention, like I'm gonna become the kind of person who every piece of copy that I write converts. Every email I send converts. It's like it's like I see where both of you guys are coming from, like that we want to give the result. We want to have a clear call to action. And what would it look like for all of us to be like every single piece of copy that I write converts in some way, shape, or form? Maybe it's not a direct consult. Who knows? But like, how crazy would it be if like every post that you wrote, a consult came out?
Yeah.
What would that look like? What would I have to think to be a better copywriter to create that result for myself and for them? Just a fun thought. I was like, that just like got me lit up. I was like, Alicia, I was like, how different would my business look if every webinar I did, I signed like 7 new people? Like, I don't know, just like throwing that out. Like, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. Like, does that land for you? I was like, it just got me really excited.
I mean, I think that's just so nebulous though. And I think that, you have to even go beyond that. So if I'm going to sign up 7 people from this webinar, well, then what is the subset of action that has to come from that result?
Yeah.
Right. Then every action is driven with that result in mind. How you plan the webinar, how much time you spend on sales, how much time you devote to how you say things and what have you. Like, and it was a real wake up call for me too, just because I gave a webinar yesterday and just thinking about, am I doing this with the result in mind? Am I really, really doing this with the result in mind? And it really helped me change some things about what I was doing. Or am I just giving a lecture? Am I just passing on information? Like what
And
is
what is the result that you
what is
had in
the-
mind?
what is the goal? Well, then I had to ask myself, well, what is the result I want?
And
Right.
what'd you say? What was it?
To get more consultations. Yeah. Is
Exactly. So what did you say to make that happen?
So I went and added some sales slides, which I hadn't had when I gave the presentation the previous week. And I spent more time on selling. And when it got icky and uncomfortable and I started to wiggle, I just brought myself back to that intention, so it wasn't perfect. It wasn't magical, but it was so helpful to have the goal in mind, the result. Then it makes it less about actually the action. When the action is super uncomfortable, it makes it more about, the result that you're after.
And that's where, like, if you get into that squirmy phase, like where you're like, ah, it's like, I don't know. It's like, I feel like I'm being very salesy. You can always come back to them and being like, doing
Yeah.
something that would be fucking awesome. It's going to help them. I'm willing to be a little squirmy for this
Yeah.
to serve.
For all that last week, for sure. For sure.
So good. I love this.
Anyway, just a thought, but I thought Megan's coaching was great. And I think, yeah, I think our thought is to give away stuff for free is going to make people buy. And I just think that's a thought error.
Yep.
If you give away that.
Okay. Can I just ask, like, so yeah, I totally see what you're saying as a point, but is there not a little bit in it of like give a little bit for free to like
Yeah,
bring
definitely.
people in?
I think that's what happens with your marketing for sure.
Yeah.
But if you're going to help me figure out my whole niche, like for free, why do I need to pay you? Because I think Megan brought up a valid point that people are going to think, oh, that's going to solve all my problems and I'm done. And it doesn't. But I think that's a very common thought, is that the niche is the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. But in my opinion, it is a problem with a lot of people but it's not like the only problem. It's not like once you fix that, everything else falls into place. But I do think it is a problem because people get so like they're so confused about it, and then their marketing is so vague and fluffy that it's hard to speak to other people. But yeah, I take on board what you're saying. I'm going to think about these calls, or I might like limit them to like a small number and then just see like what happens and then go from there.
I mean, if you need information, like I did calls with people, just asking questions, and these were just, trying to find out specifically what people's problems were and how they said it in their own words.
Yeah.
This is when I was at the very beginning of my business, thinking
Mhm.
about, and to just get stuff for marketing, like Megan said. So, if you do just some exploratory calls like that to
Yeah.
find out what they're thinking so that you can use that in your marketing, and that's the result you want. It's like, I guess I'm back to asking the question, what
the
is the
result?
result that you're wanting from these calls?
Yeah, well, I think probably originally my result is like, well, if I get them on a call and then I really, really help them, they'll be like, oh my God, I have to work with you. And then I can help them. Maybe that's not the best thing to do, or maybe it's not reality, but yeah,
And
okay.
so it's like, I think that like the result is you want to help them. So I'm not, like, again, I think that a lot of times, like, it's sounding like if this is something that's come up multiple times, your brain might just want some lived experience. Because like I could hear all day that like, hey, you should probably have a bigger audience before you launch a group. Hey, you probably like should not just switch your niche before you launch a group. And you maybe should make 200K beforehand. And I was like, here's the thing. I want to launch a group. I really like group coaching. I want to do this. I know it might be harder. Those might not be the right way. And I had to go through it myself to be like, oh, that's why they said it. Oh, I totally get it. I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, you have to go
So
through it
it's,
yourself.
you
Yeah.
guys just have to go through some lived experience, and I am here to support you through all of it. I think we've given you really good, like, just
Mhm.
compelling, like, ideas to think about. And as you're going through it, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, I'm seeing what they might have been saying, or you might figure out something that's completely new that we
Yeah.
haven't experienced that could be a really great funnel for you. So it's
Yeah.
like, I don't think there's any harm in trying new things, as long as we don't dismiss old things and keep the consistency and congruency of your business going. And
Yeah.
I also think that if we can create kind of a if you kind of like know, if you know the quote unquote risks, then I feel comfortable as your coach giving you the autonomy to give some stuff a try. It can be fun if you go into it with the mindset like, I know I can help them. This is one way I've got an idea to do it, and I'm going to come up with like 50 other ways I can help them too. And that's what I was saying at the beginning. I don't think I explained very well, but like why it's like, okay, if you have come up with a problem, they aren't booking consults. There isn't just one solution. There are like 50 solutions.
Yeah.
So if we can have that creativity and that like openness as well, along with like just being like, I'm going to do this. I know I can help people. I'm going to do this to get some data, learn, see if I want to do it again. Maybe you will,
Yeah.
maybe you won't.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. I'm so sorry it's taken so long, everyone.
No, I think this was very helpful. I think like truly this is like very high level stuff, which I think was really good. So I love you. Good luck with that webinar that you're re-recording. Sell the crap out of it.
Thank you.
It's going to be good. Okay. Who else would like some coaching today? Maria, start us with a win.
Hi. Win. No, I have wins.
I'm
What?
sure that you do, or it's something that you're grateful for.
What did I do? I'm trying to think of what I like wrote in my
Isn't that fun? It's like, what, come up with something from scratch, like something. I love the pictures of the Madonna festival, the concert that I saw.
that was really fun.
So
She's Madonna's like inspiring. Okay, I think my win is my talk is this week. the big talk. That's not what I need, or that's not what I'm getting coaching on, but I'm like feeling really good about it. I'm like kind of in line with what we're talking about here. Like I'm like leaning into to selling, not necessarily like book a consult right now, but to like gather emails and use it as an opportunity to really like bring more people into my community. Whether that's like individual women at the conference that sign up to get a freebie that I'm going to offer, and like whoever signs up for that freebie, I'm giving away a free hour of coaching. And I feel like doing this process has really helped me like nail down the like sales pitch, honestly.
That's-
When you're talking to people that you haven't interacted with yet. And so like in doing it, like, and we talked about this like a month ago about like, how do you make it work for you? But I'm like, I'm just gonna take this. And like, I've been talking to a bunch of people about like pitching my services to organizations. And like, that's not necessarily, there's not like one size fits all, like for how coaches get connected to like an organization to be like on the roster of coaches that get hired for, you know, people at that company. But most companies have group like women's groups. And I'm like, this pitch can literally, like this, what I'm making right now can literally be used like over and over again. And I can expand my network by like a ton. So
Which
I'm like
we all
stoked
really
about that.
Huge. We definitely like everybody needs to be pitching presentations to ideal clients. Like so damn good.
Yeah, and I'm happy to just like give, I actually like kind of, I like am using the structure from a presentation I saw in a, like another women's group. Like it's a networking group that I participate in, but the way she did it, and like, I feel like it's been taught before, like I've been taught the format before, but I basically copied it, like the format, the structure. And I think that it took me some time to like distill my message and how to like break out those pieces. But
Well, lady, this sounds awesome.
I'm kind of like, it's kind of been an unlock, which is cool.
How can I support you? I was like, what could you like some coaching on?
Okay, this is like, this is like kind of a whole different thing,
Okay.
but I almost was like, no, I'm not going to get coaching on it this week. But then I was like, no, if I believe that like I'm bringing all these new people into my business, I need to figure this out. Okay, so I had a consult
Amazing.
last week and I kind of bombed it.
Okay,
I'm
gotcha.
kind of telling myself I bombed it. Like it wasn't, so I feel
Let's
like I
give it, do a
bombed
quick
a part of
eval.
it. What?
What worked? What could use improvement, and what could we
Exactly.
do differently?
And I'm owning that I like,
Something probably
I
worked.
felt like I bombed it. And then I was like, okay, I actually have been like sitting on this thing, this like habit that I do in consults. And it became so clear to me why like I have to clean this up.
What is it?
So I perpetually like go overtime.
Also, really quick,
I don't blow past the hour without checking in and like asking and stuff. Like it's not like I'm just like, oh my God, like it's 15 minutes, you know. I like check in, I'm like, do you have a hard stop? And like sometimes they do, whatever. But like I also I need to clean up like whatever thoughts I'm having about my need to either like over explain or yeah. So like I went over, realized after I got off, I'm like, okay, she said verbally, like by the time we like got to like, why not? Blah, blah, blah. She was like, I'm just like really tired. And I'm like, oh my God, I just made her feel this way that she feels about everything in her life, which is like overwhelmed. Like people are like running over her time. And obviously that's like
Oh my
also
God.
like set boundaries, but
Yeah.
I was
So
like,
okay,
this
but
is
first
going
off,
over is not, it's bad for my clients or it's bad for my potential clients too. Like they are getting probably decision fatigue, etc.
okay. So I want to know really quick,
Yeah.
what
Sorry.
worked for you to create this consult though? There's things that went really well with it.
Totally. Oh, like why the consult came to me?
Yeah.
Um, she binged my podcast, which is dope. Or not, she was like listening to it over the last week, which
So
is
fun.
amazing. Because like that my podcast is actually at the moment, it's like 26 episodes and I don't do one every week. But I'm like, I'm keeping it up because I'm gonna put more podcasts on there, but like it's still working.
Okay,
Like
so
there's no
look at
reason
that.
to take it
Not
down,
anything.
even though it's not like consistent. So
Love.
that's kind of cool. Let's see.
Okay, so you get on the
I know her. Yeah, the connection is through like she used to work at like the same company as my husband. And neither of them work there anymore, but that's like how we have the connection. And then she follows me on social media.
uh-huh. Okay, so I want you to think about like you get on the console, you see the time. Is there a certain point when you notice yourself getting quote unquote carried away? Like, what is the trigger? Or
So something that specifically happened on this one is that I have my like when people sign up for a consult, I have them fill out like 4 intake questions so that I have an idea of like their background and like, and I know part of it is like, I know that people have a bunch of like drama about their workplaces and like that can go, like that can kind of go on for like a while. And so it helps organize like their thoughts too. So she had done that. She gets on and she's like, oh, like there's a bunch of info in that about like her company. She gets on, she's like, oh, I quit. I like got a new job with a new company.
so we're just gonna say
Part of
unexpected
me knows
things.
that doesn't matter. And then the other part of me starts like rehashing everything she's already written down. So that took up way too much time. And afterward, I'm like, oh my God, like you need it instead of what I did, which was like go through line by line. Like, does this still apply? I should have said, okay, great. Tell me about the new position, written the 2 sentences about it, which I did. And then I should have go, okay, take 2 minutes, read the overview that I've like dropped into like our little worksheet today. Tell me if there's anything that you want me to take out that you feel like is absolutely not relevant anymore. 2 minutes, you're on the clock, go. Like read it. And
Oh,
then like move on.
I think that like it's coming back to what I was telling Nadia. There's so many ways that you could solve a problem.
Yeah.
And I think that is one way that your brain is like, oh, okay, I'll just like send her a recap. But there's a thought that like
Yeah.
I have to make sure I accurately understand the circumstances for a person
Yes.
to help them
Yeah.
in a very like, what if that isn't true?
Yes.
What if you can coach her for any circumstance because she's a human brain?
Right. I think yes, you can coach for any circumstance, but I guess,
Like you would lead the consult in a different way. But I want you to embody for you and for anybody who is doing a consult that even when unexpected things are going to happen on every consult you have, they're going to be like, oh, I switched a job. Oh, I did this.
Yeah.
Oh, I was doing that. And I think that like, if we are getting into the nitty gritty, it's like, I think this has served you for a really long time in your business. I think the reason you're doing this intake form is because you want to make sure that you can help them and you've got a plan and that you're ready and you're like, okay, I'm
Yes.
ready. And I think what we're seeing is that this consult is actually a good example that like the intake form might not be serving you.
Mm.
What if people could just come onto a consult, tell you a couple of things about their workplace, you can guide them through each of the pillars, and that's all they need.
Yeah.
Different
Yeah.
than I think you were looking for coaching on. But so like let your brain
No, I think that like I'm not like against that idea.
what if we
I
just
think
like
that's
what
like a
would be your
possibility.
thought?
I'm trying to like, I think that I'm like, yeah, like I think part of the thing is like me trying to like make sure I cover everything and like, because that's where I think I think it's like partially that. I think I do a little bit of the thing where like somebody, instead of just like listening to the problem, I do a little bit, and I know like it depends, like sometimes I don't do it as much, but sometimes I do this where I'll like start problem solving in the middle of the
I know, because then you think, 'cause first off,
'cause
it's
I'm
like,
like, oh, I get like excited about like, I'm like, oh yeah, like I've been there too, you know, like I'm like relating. I'm maybe trying to like prove that like this, that I know what I'm talking about.
mhm. So maybe it's like a little bit of fear. It might be a little bit like that thought, I need to cover everything. It sounds so good, right? It sounds like such a great thought. I'm like, why would anyone ever be like, you don't have to cover as much? But I think that if we're finding that it's like, I think the emotion it's coming from is potentially some flavor of insecurity.
Totally. Totally. Yes.
So it's like, okay, so let's just like think about it, like from the thought, like I need to cover everything and feeling slightly insecure in some ways. Let's just think about like, okay, your brain thinks that this thought is helpful. I need to cover everything.
Yes. Like, I
But like,
think that
what are you
oh,
doing when you think that thought?
I'm like doing all of these things, over explaining, like coaching in the middle. I'm like, yeah. Um,
And if we go in a little bit deeper,
yes.
if I need to, why do you need to cover everything?
I'm like trying to prove that I can like solve their problem.
Huh? It's like I want to, which just sounds like again a lovely thought. I want to prove that I can solve their problem. But if you think about what is that feeling? Like maybe scared? Like it's
Yeah,
like,
or, yeah, like I'm inside of me, I'm like scared that maybe I can't.
yep, catastrophizing. And so then what
Or
happens?
I'm not just like trusting my process, which is like I've been using like the chart that you use in your consults, which has like I've had like I've had other consults that have been super successful. So
Mhm.
like because it has structure and it keeps me focused on like this is like what I teach in my program. And yes, there's like nuances and there's little bullets under each of them with all these like other, you know, it's not like it's like these are the only 4 things we ever talk about ever. And they're all kind of connected and related, but it gives it gives my brain the structure.
Did you
Um,
structure on the call?
and instead of just trusting that like that is like all that I need, I'm like, oh, I've got to make this like super custom to them,
Uh-huh.
which like isn't not true,
Yeah. It's
but I'm
like
like going, I think, too deep on it. And then I'm not, there's not enough time to actually like, work on like the real obstacle and like the reasons why they might not, like the why and the why not. Like that's always crunch and
and so
yeah.
it's like if we think about like I don't think that it's like first off, I want to add that this person, just because they're not a no for now, doesn't mean they're a
No,
no forever.
I know
And
I've been letting that live in my brain, even though I'm like, there's no way, like this, I need to
no,
learn so hard from this. I'm like, okay, there's still like there are a lot. Yeah, I'm recognizing that. There's still like she showed up for a reason. She's actually like a qualified lead. Like I had built
yeah.
like now trust with her before she ever got on the call. But for whatever reason, we went like way over, and I'm like, I need to look at this. It's a huge alarm, which
Yes.
is great.
And I think it wasn't meant to be solved until today. And I
Yeah.
want to just like, let's say you can't solve their problem. But let's
Yeah.
go there. Worst fear, worst case scenario, what would happen?
I just tell them that.
And
Like
then,
that's not, yeah, that's not really.
but you're
I
like
I get a little
logically,
jumbled in my brain of like making sure that I'm not like being like where but then I'm not like giving up an opportunity, which is like silly.
no, but like we need to, this part of you is gonna make itself heard throughout all the next consults unless we like listen. It's like need to, what'd you say? If I
Um,
can't solve the problem, I need to tell them that. But it's
yeah,
like,
like, okay, so if I truly can't solve their problem, if they show up and they're like, I just actually like, there's like certain things that that I've identified in my brain is like, that's not what kind of coach I am. Like if someone comes and they're like, I want to do like a big job search. I'm like, I'm not your girl. Like there's other coaches that do the like I could do it, but it's not really what I focus on. And I would tell someone that, like, if you want a process for like, calling recruiters and like, like job searching, it's like not really like what I want to do. And it's not like something I really offer.
so your brain's telling you that you need to make the most of this opportunity, right? That you need to like really make sure that you can make this work. And when
Um,
go ahead.
yeah. Yeah, well, okay, let me clarify. In this worst case, like if I can't solve the problem, are we talking about like inside of something that is like my wheelhouse?
Like whatever you are thinking, like I want to prove that I can solve their problem when they come on the call. Like, why is your brain offering you this thought?
Because I don't want to fail them.
Which is really beautiful. Like, wow, that's so kind. We love this. Nothing has gone wrong. I don't want to fail them. And because it brought up some feels, this is probably something good to coach on.
Yeah.
Is it absolutely true
No,
that you would fail them?
no.
Why? Or that you would, it's like, because you're scared that you don't want to fail them. So it's like, I could fail them, I think would be the opposite thought here.
Yeah, yeah. Or like, um, yeah, like I could fail them or um, like what if they don't get what they came for?
Mhm. And what if they don't?
Um, yeah, I mean yeah, I guess this is like kind of happened before. And then I
And that's
like
why
reached
it's so triggering.
them for like the time that they didn't use, like we like end the relationship. I mean, that's like one case where like a person realized halfway, like maybe 2 months in, that like she wanted to move in a different direction. And I like also did my due diligence to be like, what happened? Like you like were you like I asked her about like, hey, were you like confused about like what I offer? Like where was the disconnect? In like a curious way. Because it like she was when she described like she basically like when she described what she had like met someone who like gave her a very specific tactic for like the thing she was trying to do. Um and I don't know if she actually is working with that person or not, but like
I think that like this is like
I
literally,
kind of fit like it was painful, but it was also like, okay, like I couldn't have done anything more to like I showed up as who I am and you've read my social media and like I wasn't telling you that I was gonna do something else. It was like
so
she understood it kind of.
well, and if we think about this, like Maria, it's like the way that your brain is like taking this, it's like logically you understand that like it was fine. She read the post, she knew exactly what I helped, and That's totally
Yeah.
fine. Your subconscious is like, I was rejected.
Yeah.
I feel like I failed this person, literally the words that you used. And your brain is like, this was a perceived threat to the safety. Like, it's like, it felt really bad. I know because like I literally had like a client just randomly quit out of the blue. And I've like rarely had this happen where like sometimes I see it coming. We're like, oh, okay, I can't see this. Did not see it coming. And I was like, wow, that's a surprise. And I think that your brain is trying to be like, okay, well, if I vet them, if I ensure that I can absolutely help them and they will get results for sure, then I'm willing to like, then it's okay if I like think about the results of
Yeah.
your, if you weren't scared that you weren't going to fail them,
Yeah.
how would you run your consults?
I wouldn't be like, yeah, I think that I would be like, it would be like so much easier to focus on like just getting, like moving through each of the pillars and knowing that like, of course I'm not going to like understand every problem that's like on their psyche right now. Like that's the whole point of being in a 6-month coaching relationship.
Yes.
Totally. Like I would, yeah, I would, I would just be like, I would just be able to like move through the console at like a normal pace.
What is your thought? What is the thought that has shifted in your brain?
Um,
Why?
I want to say like I can't fail them, but I don't know that it's like
Okay, we
I don't
need
know if it's like totally true, or maybe I don't like fully believe that yet, but like
okay, let's
um,
do a bridge thought. Like maybe I'll fail them. Maybe I won't,
but it will be okay.
but I'm gonna do the best I can.
Yeah.
Best I can for them. And I'm going to and that means clearly communicating on the consult and ending on time.
Yeah. Yeah, like doing the best that I can in the time, like in the time that we have.
And that doesn't
And
mean
like being realistic that that is 1 hour.
it's 1 hour. And like they're going to get enough information for this 1 hour. And it's trusting yourself that like I can communicate my value in this hour to the best of my ability.
Yeah. And like, yeah, it's all this stuff, like getting to the bottom, like getting kind of to like the bottom of the sheet too, where it's like, okay, what questions do you have? Like what gaps are there? It's so much more important to like, that's where you like give them custom answers, or that's like where the whole experience becomes potentially more like customized, I think, because it's like, I can't know what, like she kind of said like, yeah, I've been listening to the podcast or I binged but I don't even like, I have no idea which episode she listened to. So
Do you
like,
think your brain is going to like the nitty gritty of her?
yeah, well, I'm trying to, yeah, like I'm trying to like,
I think your brain is trying to understand that, like, it's like, okay, we don't need to know what piece of her life, we don't necessarily need to know what piece of her life is directly relating to, it's like, we don't need to know what podcast episode made her think that like planning, it's like, oh my gosh, Maria is my person.
yeah. No, I
You
know.
can
Yeah,
help somebody
that's what
plan.
I'm saying is like, we're gonna go through each of those things anyway, but like getting to the point at the bottom where it's like, okay, what questions do you have is like where I need to answer questions, not like giving them extra information, or like an overly amount of
Yes.
emphasis,
Okay, so
over
it's the question
explaining
mark.
how something works, like up in the pillar section. Like I need to say what the things are instead of explaining like the process of them.
Okay. So I would offer you that instead of being like, do you have any questions with this? Being like, I think you're a good fit based, if you genuinely do, on what you said.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I walk you through what the next 6 months could look like working with me?
Yeah.
Not just like keeping it open-ended, like being like, what from this, what questions do you have? Being like, I think that you're a good fit. I'm still staying in the leadership energy. Let me talk you through what it would look like for the next 6 months when we work with me. I noticed that you said that a big area for growth was that you really feel like you want to get your leadership skills in. I know it's April, we're in March. Let's work on this by the end of the month because you have to do those quarterly reviews. So let's talk about this first. Then I'd take you through here and we would talk through how to plan the long term. It's like once we're through those evals, we got to get you thinking more big picture because right now you're not delegating enough. And I want the goals that you have for your client, for your employees to be delegated, and I want it to be clear. And then I want you to also be more confident. It's like I want to create the big plan. You and I both know it. And then I want to give you the confidence to deliver that plan to your team. And then from there, I want to help you just manage the stress. I think it's actually going to be more stressful for you to delegate than it actually is right now. So I want to help you to feel less stressed as we approach September. And I want this to be like a really impactful next 6 months of you. How does that feel to you? She's like, oh shit. Yeah. Like that sounds, it's like amazing. Now it's like, it's like, I would love to get started with you as soon as possible. Do you have any other questions for me? We'd meet together once a week. It'd be for 6 months. You can access me on Slack, whatever. It's like, do you have any other, that's where you ask. Do you have any other
Yeah,
questions?
exactly.
And like,
Yeah,
it's
that's what I mean. It's like that point when you've shared, you've gone through the pillars, you've given them the plan, you've told them the details of the program and the price. And then, like some people, whatever, they're like, oh, is there worksheets? Is there homework? Blah, blah, blah. That kind of thing. Or like if someone has a specific question about like, well, how do you set boundary? Like, I don't know. If they have a specific question about like one of the pillars or one of the
yeah.
tools that I'm going to give them, that's the point that's like the point that it would make sense for me to like maybe do a little more explaining on how
But a
how you do
smidge.
something. But I find myself like kind of giving that, like going into explaining that like in the middle of going through
It's kind of like, it's like, okay, so it's like, do you get through to the price and then you over explain, or do you over explain while you're
No, I'm
talking?
over explaining like in the pillars.
So it's like,
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm not separating like the what and like the how. And I'll start talking about the how, partially because I'm like excited to share it, and partially because
of course.
I'm like, I think that I'm wanting to show them that I like know what I'm talking about or
Maria,
something.
on our freaking consult, I think I showed you my marketing calendar. I'm like, I am so thankful that you decided to work with me. I was like, so we're going to do a whole marketing calendar and we're going to get into all of the how, and it's going to be, you're going to do work every single week and it's going to be a lot of work. I don't even know what the fuck I said, but I totally get this. I think we've all been in this place where it's like, we over explain. I was like, let me show you the graphs. I was like, we've got graphs up in here. It works for some people.
Which like I really like that. Like it was cool to be like
I'm
you teach
confident.
system, so it's like cool to see
And I think of some of that
like
could
some
be
of
done
the
in the
things.
marketing ahead of time. Like it's like that we can show them in the marketing, we can show them what it looks like, be like, hey, like this is like something that you'll get. But I think that like I did it to avoid people saying like I don't believe that like you can actually help me.
Yeah. Like
So how without over explaining So it's like it's like the thought that your brain has realized, like, this is the problem. They don't actually believe they can help me. So your brain was like, solution, over explaining. What do you want to, instead of over explaining, if they're having a thought that they don't actually believe they can help me, what do you want to do instead? First off, I actually can go back, sorry. It's like coming back to your pillars and like being like, I think you have a fear that they don't actually believe that you can help them
Yeah,
by saying like
totally.
the sustainable energy system,
Yeah.
the impactful executive approach, the empowered
Yeah,
mind.
it's like maybe feeling like it's like too esoteric,
Okay.
which like I don't necessarily believe like
Could you say this in 3 sentences that gives a little bit more clarity into the esotericness of it? And also, like, they are CEOs and leaders in companies, right? That's your person, is like they're a high level exec. Is there a belief there that like you need to explain more to them? It's like, what if we just chose to believe that like they're
I
pretty
think that
fucking smart?
I think I'm assuming too often that like I think I'm assuming maybe too often, but before I really know that, right? Like obviously that's the problem. I think like if I'm assuming too early in the consult that like that they're maybe thinking, what the hell are you talking about? Or like, what is this mindset shit? But I think like as I'm like looking at this,
I think this is pretty like I think that
I'm like realizing too that like um I think people actually do know what this stuff is. Like
probably.
that sounds like such a simple like moment right now.
I know, but it's a big one. It's like, what was the thought? It was
Or
like,
like if there really are like what do you mean by like mindset? Like they're gonna if they're like they're gonna ask that at the end. Or like I need to and yeah, like they're gonna I need to give them the opportunity to identify where their gaps are. And like that's how you customize it. Not by saying, "Oh, because your boss is specifically a narcissist, we have to do this." Like that's not it's
yeah,
still the same solution.
this was the old solution. Your brain thought that the solution was like, let me get really granular.
Because I think also I'm squeezing the objection part like way too tight, and then I'm not able to like have the like space to get curious about like in this one, this woman was like, I need to think about it and like kind of evaluate like whether this is like worth the investment. And she mentioned like some other program she's doing. But like I was already like, we have to get the fuck off of here. So I couldn't be like, oh, what does the other program work on? So that I could be like, sounds like different stuff. What do you think? You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know what the other program does. And that's like,
We have no
whether
clue.
she was going to say yes to me or not, like, that's kind of an issue. Cause like, it's important also for me to like know what, like, yeah, like
Why?
that would have been more important for me to know
Why?
than the like random, like, do you still agree with all these goals you already wrote?
Yeah. Do you still agree with all the goals you wrote? And do you know exactly what the empowered mindset method is? It's like a thing that I got certified in, and I can tell you all about it. And I'm like really good at mindset, and I've been doing it for years. And also, it's helped all my clients. And it's like all of that is like I can just feel it. I've done it. I've lived it. That's why I can give you really great advice on this. I'm like, I just see that this is a thought. And it's like, I want you to see that like the goal of the consult is to also get to objections. And Nadia, I think this is
Totally.
a thought for you too. It's like not only is like it's like that is like where we transform, like that is like the biggest transformation is for them to see what like there might be some like actual like limiting beliefs and things like that. Like and it's like I was on a consult yesterday and she was like in Australia. And she's like, it is going to be from midnight to 2 p.m. on the busiest day that I have. So she's like, I'm going to be really tired. And I was like, that's a really valid point. Like, I'm like, that is such a good way to think about it. It does start on April 2nd. And I was like, would you want to, like, I've got some ideas. Are you open to me like helping you problem solve this? And she was like, honestly, like, yeah. And I was like, I was like, just 3 ideas off the top of my head is that the form would have a really great place for you to ask for customized feedback along with the stream. So like you can always submit every week and I can check in with you privately or publicly. The second thing is that you coming to the calls every week might not always be necessary. I think that like you are at a place in your business. I wouldn't say this to everybody, but I do think that coming bi-weekly or even monthly could still create 5K worth of value in your business. I really do think that like these are the missing pieces that I think could be really helpful. And the third piece is if all else fails, potentially shifting the circumstances a smidge and being like, could you maybe see those clients on Thursday? Would that be an opportunity for you? She was like, if it was a Saturday, I'd be so in. And I was like, what is it about Saturday that like makes a difference? You know what I mean? And then she could see herself being like, oh, I'm going to get what, and I was like, because I just want to make sure that you get what your business needs in the time in this next 6 months. And I do think these are the things that it needs. And so I'm just trying to help you brainstorm every way. My thought for her, the transformation is like, I'm going to figure out how to get what I need regardless of circumstances. And it was totally consensual and fun. And like I was like, again, totally up to you. You know that I'm going to be here for you no matter what, but I do think this could really serve you. And like when she could like feel that, she was like, okay, I've got to talk with Randy and her partner. And I was like, and I will like, it's like, and I was like, feel free if he wants to hop on a consult too. If you, any questions that he has, feel free to ask him. But like, you know what I mean? It was like, I can
Yeah.
just see her trust. I think there was a transformation in the thoughts that I created in the objections, and that transformation created trust.
Totally. Yeah.
Nadia had a great question. She said, yes. Okay. So first thing that Nadia brought up was like, how can you explain the mindset piece in a language that they understand? So it's related to confidence. So like maybe you could brainstorm, like, what are I know that you've got the little bullet points underneath like the empowered mindset method, but like, what are things that if you notice that you're like, okay, I feel like they're not going to know what this is, brainstorm 3 ways to explain what the empowered mindset method is, how it can help them with their confidence using their PSPR would be.
Yeah. Like having like a quick example, I think.
Yes.
That's like not necessarily even related to their
Situation.
specific problem, but like it's something that like every woman that I work with experiences and just have like that, right? Because like that one's that one is such a good one to have like a tiny, like an example of like a mini story.
And I want you to do that for each pillar. That's such a good example or idea, Nadia.
Yeah.
Like literally gonna tell everyone to do this. I'm like, everybody think of an example per pillar. This is important because I think that's like,
And then
it's
just
like,
have them like super easy to recall.
anecdotal stories are sometimes the best way to convey, like you mentioned being relatable, right? That was like something that, man, I
Which
can't.
like, yeah, like I'm using like a story for every single thing that I'm talking about in my talk. Because, and it's like, some of them are client stories, some of them are stories about Beyonce. Like, it's just like, when people can hear the story, they're like, oh yeah, that's like, it actually like people, that's how people can hear things a lot of times. Or
Yes.
like, that's how they like it sinks into them of like they can much more easily access their own story whenever they hear the story of someone else, I think.
They make sense of their own self-concept.
Yeah.
It's like easier to connect with that a lot of the times. Self concepts. So brilliant.
Yeah,
And
I think like having when I'm like going through each pillar and being like, this is the pillar, this is like having the story, be like, this is why it's important. Tiny story. What's your number? Where you're at right now? Where are
yes,
you at?
even like
You know what I
I
mean?
love
Because
that.
that's a place too where I'm like, I'm going through the pillars and I'm like, how'd you rate yourself on long-term planning or like focus? And they're like, what?
Yep.
I mean, they're not like what, but it's like, I think it helps to like give
It-
them
the
a little
parameter.
bit of a context of like what I'm referring to.
And what I usually do is I'm like, what is your confidence marketing on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being like, I have no idea what to post. 10 being like, I'm consistent
Right.
posting every day. You see, so it's
Yeah.
like a little, and then you could give even more of a story. It's like, I want you to be good for whatever like meetings you have. It's like, I know you've got a couple meetings coming up, but I want to make sure you feel confident. And there's no, I know that like sometimes there can be some sneaky imposter syndrome come up. I want to eradicate that within the next 6 months. So that is brilliant. The next thing that Nadia said is the power of questioning. When you ask questions to be like, okay, tell me more about that. What
Yeah.
kind of things are you thinking? It's like when this person was like, is this worth the investment? It's like, okay, it's like I think that is such a it's like I think what I like to do is I like to validate questions. And I'm like, I think that's a really good question. It's like, what kind of things like do you, based on what we've said, it's like that level of confidence, the planning, the things that I can't remember your pillars. Sorry, give me a second. Confidence, planning, leadership skills and stress management. It's like those are the things that I'm hearing would be like those are the things that I think I can offer to you. It's like, would this be worth the investment? Like, let's think about it. It's like, what kind of things do you think would ship for you by September? Is this something that you are getting from somewhere else? Or is it something that what do you think would be
Yeah.
different about this working the questions?
Yeah.
Yes, and have them asking questions. Them so it's like I would say the power of questions for you in objections. That was where my brain went. Oh, it says an error occurred. Can you guys still see me?
Yeah.
Strange.
I think it's just your Google Doc maybe. But
Cool.
nothing went away. That's weird.
Like, oh, all right, it's going all the way back.
I'm seeing Nadia saying like, have them asking questions or yeah, totally. I agree with that. Like not assuming that they don't know what I'm talking about. And waiting until they ask a question about to like for if they need clarification on like the specifics of my program.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just saying
I-
it's so much better to like explain it confidently, like what you think in the minimal words possible, right? Because it just comes across more confident. And then if they have questions, brilliant, you can maybe then think, how can I incorporate that next time? But it's better to have them ask you a question versus someone like speaking and
Totally.
speaking and speaking.
Totally.
So that was just my thought on it.
yeah,
Like
like
it's well
explain it
better
in my
to
best
have-
possible way. And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's like that's, yes.
I would say like just a challenge, 3 sentences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, how can we challenge like that you could feel confident in those 3 sentences? And then you're like, yeah. And then if you can't, and you notice yourself start to ramble, if you can in the moment, I would offer like I always like I'm like, oh my God, my throat's hurting. Sorry. And I try to like pause myself. I'm like, I see myself going on a tangent. I'm like, let's just take a sip and let's just like chill the fuck out. And I'm like, okay, here's my best guess. And if I can't figure it out, then next time in marketing, it's gonna be gold, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And imagine how much more confident you'll be in every consult when you've basically got like a memorized, not memorized, but you know what I mean, like a script for each
Like a talk
pillar.
track. Yeah.
Right. So when it comes to like you've listened to all their stuff and blah blah blah, and you're going to tell them about yours, and it's like this pillar, and it's like right. In this set, here's what we're going to do, and then it's like 3 sentences, concise, clear to the point, and then the next one. Because if you think if you've got 4 or 5 pillars and you ramble for each one of them, that's a lot of information.
Totally. It like overwhelms them to the point where
Totally.
they're now like, I
Mhm.
feel like I have to process a lot. It's like, it makes it
Yeah.
harder for them to make the decision. It gives them
Yeah.
like mental fatigue. And the other thing that's like, that works in this, like consults are like so many words and there's like different things going on and you're doing objections and you're like, every time you think you're like, I know how to talk about that objection. It's like, they say it in, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
it's
They
a
say
little
it
bit
in just like
different
a
every
slightly
time.
different
Like,
flavor every time.
but when you have, I think like when they're, whatever parts that I can like simplify and like make specific,
Yeah.
then I can also evaluate so much better. Like everyone keeps asking, what do you mean by the mindset thing? Like you can, if I'm saying more of the same thing every time, it gives me more,
Yeah.
there's more availability to like evaluate what I'm actually saying and whether
Yeah,
people
it's
like if I need to change it,
Yeah, it's
basically.
like Facebook ads, right? If you do an ad and then change everything in a funnel, you've no idea what bit was working, not
Right,
working.
like to test
Whereas
it.
if you've got a strict, like if it's more sort of uniform, then you can be like, right, if I change this one piece, like did that help, so on and so forth.
Totally. It like
Um,
makes it easier to A/B test for sure.
yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah, you know the word.
it was
but yeah,
like-
that's what I mean.
1,000,000%. And I think that like the less you can change, the better.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
like I think that would be like just really just gives you good data. Like again, Nadia, like with the idea for like the month, it's like, what am I doing this month? I'm going to add or subtract or try something different with a small
Yeah.
thing, and I'm going to get really good data about it. The other idea that I had as you were saying that is like, if you don't have an objection document, I would highly recommend
Oh
making
yeah.
just
Oh.
like of common objections. What are your fears? What do you think that they're going to be thinking? What is the concern here? And then like being like, my kids are home all day. It's like, don't have a babysitter. I'm not interested. Like, that's fine. It's like, okay, what are your thoughts about coaching? It's like, I did the same thing and I wanted to see if it could change my life. They want to start after a holiday. It's like, I included all of these. So feel free to just like,
Yeah.
I-
Is that somewhere in the, oh, it's just in this, it's just,
I should
it-
probably include it in, I feel like it could be helpful. I'm going to probably include
it's
this.
fine. I can find it. I'm gonna go back to this doc and like grab all
I think
my
it'd be
little like
helpful.
list of to-dos.
And the other thing that like I just learned about actually from Jackie, how Maria and I met was this thing idea for 4 types of buyers. So there are 4 different types of people who are going to be buying. They're going to be expressive, doers, amicable, or analytical. So if you think about the people that you're having consults with, they probably are fitting in some sort of a category. So there's the expressive people that want to see the big picture. They want you to paint a fucking vision for them. They want to be like, you hear me, you see me. That is their selling style that they prefer to like connect with and take action. There's the doer. I'm a doer. Like immediately I heard about this lady about her master and I was like, I'm gonna do it. Like I'm like, I'm like, yeah, completely random. I had like one result that I heard, and I was like, she was like, I love hearing a testimonial. I think it's probably why it's my template. But I literally like if I hear about one thing from one person, okay, bye, Nadia. Then I'm like all in. So that's like a great way to think about it. It's like, okay, if you're noticing that they are looking for results, if they're trying to get to the point, if they like need a recommendation, having that as like an objection almost, like having an objection per buyer. Another piece
Oh
is
yeah.
like the people that are like, they're like, I need to think about it. It's like they might be lacking belief in themselves and being like, okay, what are like it's like you know what, I talked with somebody who was just like you. It was Stacy. When I was working with Stacy, it's like she was feeling just like you. And what happened is we worked together and she found that like within the first not 6 months, but 2 months later, she's already been leading her team meetings. She's been doing this, she's been doing that. And I just feel like I can see that for you. And I want you, it's like if that's something that you want, I really do think that working together could work.
Oh yeah. Subjective testimonials.
Right. And then data-driven people. If you're hearing a lot, and I have a feeling this is going to be a lot of your people, and I don't know if this is actually how you buy, but the numbers, the stats, the data, I think if somebody asked you a question, is this worth the investment? It's like, I have seen this expert, like when you're ranking the pillars, confidence, leadership skills, it's like, I don't know if you have your clients do that. You could ask the whole crew and be like, where were your confidence in when we first started working together, and what are you at now? It's like, what is the shift? It's
Yeah.
like, on average, I have a client, my clients have a 60% increase in their confidence. It's like, so I think that, and because of that confidence, then they're able to get promotions. They're able to like, and translate the intangible result to a tangible result. That's what the analytical buyers need.
Yeah.
And like giving them data. It's like, everyone I work with gets a raise. Everyone, it's like, I've had so many people get promotions. I've had people like do this and that and that. It's like just helping them see that.
Yeah.
And I'll
And-
share all this with everybody, but it's like, I think that this is like I think today was like a really, why would you have this exact consult right before this? It was meant to be. And I just love you. And if you, I am wishing you the best of luck with this. You're going to do
Thank you.
awesome this week. And if you have any questions in the meantime, just like a little pump me up, a little cheer on. You've got this.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to see you soon to hear how it goes.
Next week.
Woo! All right.
Thanks.
Bye, lady.
Bye.